So I wanted to make my life a little bit easier by going ahead and getting an elytra. I did record it, but it was just a little time where I just wanted to play the game without speaking at all. So, you know, I just thought, nice quick trip to the end and get myself an elytra, head back, and then I can start the next episode with an elytra and a small little clip showing how I got it. But instead, the clip, to get put together, is how I died trying to get it. And once you've seen those clips, we're going to get my stuff back. Here's how I felt miserably to get an elytra. Yeah, that went terribly, didn't it? So my actual first hurdle, which isn't going 5,000 blocks away, is going onto my chest. So when it comes to these chests, I'm kind of poor. I have some diamonds in here, I guess, but got some baked potatoes. Realistically, the best way to get over there would be with a nether portal, but I own 1 obsidian. And then I also believe some people left a little gift of an elytra in there as well. So I should definitely bring some paper and gunpowder. Also need that. And I guess I'll make another set of diamond armor. Simply so I can survive my travels. Okay, my best bet is to go through my nether portal and break the corners of the portal off. Now, I don't think me dying was my fault, by the way. We had a server update and that completely changed the way a lot of the physics worked with different heights and altitudes. That means the same thing. With simulated contraptions, and as part of that I had a little oopsie in not knowing how specifically it would work in the end. I didn't think it was going to be much different than what I had been dealing with. The worst thing about dying and having limited rockets is I know that the corpse mod we have on this server has made sure my items are safe. However, I died under my plane, meaning I don't know what has happened with the plane itself when it placed that cobblestone to put my corpse on. I can only assume I'm not the first person to have had to go to the end after dying, and my assumption was clearly wrong because I don't see an easy way over there. The one thing I wanted was to not have to bridge, and clearly I'm probably having to. What are these paths? Okay, we made it to the stronghold. Let's put a bed here. Let's hope absolutely nothing goes wrong, because things can and very much could go wrong. I believe a grave site was made for me over here, yeah, and this is the elytra that's left for me. I get some sweet berry jelly apparently, and I've got an elytra, but obviously this elytra is unenchanted. I have 45 rockets to my name, and the items are unseeable at this moment in time. Oh, actually, we should be fine on getting the items because it's just we're gonna have to land on 1 block. About 1 block is okay. Well, someone's made a platform, which is every Enderman and their mother on it, which is actually more problematic than if there were no Enderman on here and it was 1 block. Okay. I'm going to keep elytra only. Let's go free cam. Yeah, this is the issue I had. But I also can't pick... I mean, I can pick it up, but I will in fact lose my wings for the plane because they don't like portal structure containers. But I do have a physics staff and a back tank on me. So using that, I'm going to make a very safe area without any Enderman on it. Bring it upside down. Bring that there. Okay. And now if I want to be able to pick this up, then yeah, head on to here. Turn these off. And for safety's sake, I'm going to bring myself... if I can use it properly, that is. There you go. For safety's sake, I'm going to bring myself off and then capture it. And now fly away with no problems in the world. That actually went a whole lot smoother than I thought it would. But now that we've got that all done, We don't have to be here anymore, and because someone provided us with an elytra, I never have to touch this hellscape ever again. And that is the number one reason not to be impatient and trying to fly an elytra up some stairs. Well, now that we're back home with our supersonic jetpack, we can actually get started on what we're supposed to be doing today instead of dying like 60 times. So you should have all just seen that I've been working on this taxiway right here, but I need to do some planning. Whilst I was working on the taxiway, I came up with a few ideas. I know that someone in the comments of, I think, the first video where we made the dirt runway suggested we make a helipad, and I was thinking the best location for that would actually be right here in this area. Originally I was thinking I could just do like a storage shed and then just chuck all my crate components in there because of this area under here. However, I already have plans where I'm going to put a permanent workshop in mind. Well, I've got two plans for a permanent workshop in mind, and I think I actually want your opinion on that. I was either thinking I learn how to make my first create aeronautics airship and then put I don't know what I did there. And then put my whole like workshop in there and have like a moving base, which would be great for being able to make airports around the whole server. Or I make a hidden like bunker style area under this airport with like a vault door that opens using a crate, and just chuck everything I need in there, like a sleeping quarters, massive vault area, a like for my storage obviously, and a massive like factory area, and then maybe even tie that into being able to bring storage from future factories and farms here. Because another idea I had was a monorail system that goes between every single airport I build that goes underground, and I could use that for both people if they don't have a plane to be able to use and they need to get somewhere else, or I can also use that for cargo. Use a monorail for cargo and just bring it like underground, like between each airport, and then there could be like a central storage system under this airport, or make a cargo airport for that. You know, we'll have to figure that out. And if you have any input on those things, then letting me know in the comments is the best way for me to figure out these things, because I'm not the greatest at ideas or picking what I want to do. Oi, nerd. Catch. Oi, nerd. You failed. I'm gonna keep that in the video now. I'm gonna keep that in the video now. Yeah. My wife wanted chocolate. So I need to lay out where I want things. For a big hangar, which is going to be the airplane workshop, I want it to be like double the size of these small ones probably, or like I guess 1.75 times the size, which is a bit specific, but you know, 29, 25, 19 I think what would be the best. Look, I've got industrial sheet metal here, so we'll start from the back of it. I guess we'll just go from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 26, 27, 28, 29. There we go, 29. Maybe I should, because even though it's going to be following the same sort of design that is, maybe I should do this on a creative world, because then it'll be a whole lot easier to pick and choose where I want it to be up here. Meaning I could then have room for extra buildings up here as well. So actually, I think I'm going to hop into creative world, bring that schematic into the creative world, and then work on this big building in there. Because this building is going to be the airplane workshop, which will be a nice simple area to be able to like lift up the planes from the ground and work on them from like every angle. So they'll have like catwalks around them. There'll be like an area above it to like look down and fully around it. And there'll just be a few other things inside of it to do with actually making planes and things needed for planes. So there will be some stuff like a mechanical press and stuff with high power. So if I want 29 on the back, let's start with that. So yeah, this building is quite literally just a bigger version of this one. And then if I go on to the inside of it, it'd work a little bit like this. I haven't done anything on the interior. I think I'm going to leave that to actually doing it on the server, because I do prefer to build on the server and on in survival survival and figure things out like that. But it would be an area we can lift up planes, we can like go under it, look around it, see the different areas that we usually would not be able to, and make some small changes. And yeah, I think the one other thing to do would be to, I guess, yellow sheet metal, and let's get some grey concrete. I guess just mark out an area directly around where the rope is, so then you can find the central area to be able to connect it easier. So off you go, don't need you anymore. And there we go. I will get rid of this so when we make the schematic, but I think this is how the building is going to look. And with the schematic, it will be a whole lot easier to choose where it's going to be on the server. And let's just save that as airplane workshop empty. Reason I'm specifying it's empty is someone asked in the comments at some point if I'd be able to share any schematics I make, and if I do end up doing that, then I want to be able to have actual detailed names and then to go through and rename everything. And then when it comes to actually sharing any schematics, the actual finished airplane workshop would have stuff inside of it. And if you are interested in the possibility of me sharing any schematics, you should join my Discord server, because that is where they would likely be and where I'd probably talk about it before actually doing it, or when it actually is done at all. But let's hop back onto the server and we can start working on the location of this and the taxiways. I think it would be great if I could have it directly in front of this, so then it could be like a straight line inwards from here for any plane. But the thing is, a lot of planes likely need to be able to reverse into it. I mean, my plane can't even reverse yet, so I mean, to be fair, a lot of planes can't reverse at all. They actually use pushback, like little like pushback things for when they do reverse out of the gate. I think that is also mainly for the sake of like precision when moving as well. Maybe we could make a pushback machine, actually, like a pushback car vehicle thing. That would be very useful, because a lot of these planes that I'm going to be building, at least, will take we'll use these wheels. So maybe I could make like a pushback thing, and then like it has like a claw on the front of it, and then it goes around this, and then we can move the plane around. Like goes around this and lifts it up type thing. I don't know if I'm smart enough to do that, but it's definitely something I would have to figure out myself. Yeah, this is right in front of here. I'll be able to go straight in this way. And in fact, if I was to do like a taxiway through here as well, that might still be a good thing. We'd have to make this one like wider. Like it might just like start off here and then go to the side. However, I might actually make this a very wide one and then have two of these small hangars on the left and right side. And then over here we can have like maybe like an extra helipad or something else, because there's going to be a little bit of room behind whatever goes on these sides. Or maybe if I do that pushback machine idea, I could make like a parking area for it over here. Oh, that wasn't even an idea I had before, but now it is like a big idea if I actually want to do. But now we're going to have to find a clipboard. There we go, material checklist. And place down the schematic cannon and find out how much materials this is going to need. I would do finish the taxiways off first. However, it's a lot easier to get the materials to finish the exterior of this building first, and then go ahead and finish off the taxiways. It does mean I'm going to have to get a whole load of iron and andesite, but I can get that from it's not actually loaded in properly, but there you go. I can get that from Max's shop all the way over there very easily. So let's move the cannon over to here and let's figure out the damage. That could be worse, actually. We can get this and we can see how much we already have. I think we already have some torches in, yeah, but only 12. Put the yellow sheet metal in there because we're going to need that. And let's put the industrial iron we have in there. Take this out, put that in. And now we can see how much we need. Couple deep slate bricks, industrial sheet metal, and yellow sheet metal is already done. So we just need these other things. And that should be everything already for the big one. Let's chuck that there, and let's just, in case, let's just chuck that in there. Yep, we got everything. And just for certainty, let's double check we are happy with this positioning. I think we are, because I think it's also like far enough away from the edges. And we can work a path behind it and going around it. And then we can also put... Can we put 2 hangars along the side here? Let's double check the front of them. That is definitely a little bit close, but I think if we were to bring it back over to here, bring this back by 3, and then I think that will be, yeah, that's still enough room around the back, and then I think that's going to be perfectly fine to be able to put an extra 2 hangars along the side there. So I think now it's time to get this built. I will sleep first, and we'll do a little time lapse for it. And it seems like the hangar finished with absolutely 0 issues, which is good because that's why this is useful. And we do even have a bit more resources left, and we're definitely going to need these resources for when we put a few more down the side. And something I actually realized is the positioning is completely perfect for putting a bigger taxiway down here. Because obviously if we build any new planes this building, we're going to want them to be able to actually fit onto this runway and at least go down this taxiway onto a runway. And luckily the hangar door actually, like, or entrance area actually goes out to here, which is perfectly fine for my little area. I was like, well, I need to make sure there's enough room. This does mean the helipad that we will be building over here will have to obviously be placed that same distance, but that will just make everything look better anyways, I think. I will be very surprised if we ever do get a bigger plane around the size of that on this runway anyways, though, because it is still going to be risky. This is more meant for smaller planes. It just means they're supposed to be able to comfortably fit in here without it being like a tight gap like it is. So we want to break this area here, have the taxiway that goes in actually be the size of a door, but we're still going to need the area where it like curves in like it does around there. So let's take off another 4 on each side, and let's also with that go ahead and get the schematic for the other hangar, so then we can decide if this is actually a great idea or not for the placements of these. So if we rotate that around, bring it down, it's definitely going to be like busy with the hangars, but we would be able to fit a lot of planes here. And I know there are others who are like getting into plane making, so having a hangar where people can make their own planes would actually be pretty great, and store them here as well. And this does actually fit pretty well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is on the 6th one, but that should be fine. And I think this would be the perfect area for it, just like slightly over on that one. So we'll also have to see how it's going to look with the other side. Yeah, I mean, this looks good, and it definitely has room for it. So I do think having extra hangars there like that would be great. We can fit the helipad there, and then we have that extra little path going behind this one, and like a vehicle parking area there, because those vehicles are only going to be used for this actual airport. So I think that is actually going to work perfectly. So if anything, it would probably be the best time now to get these hangars down, which means we're going to have to use even more resources. Let's see what else we need. Apparently we need lily of the valley and short grass. We definitely do not need those 2, and we are going to ignore the coaster as well. We're going to need a bit more andesite sheet metal, which I think has already removed our andesite supplies, which is great. Are there any other ways we can get andesite? No, actually there's no special ways to get andesite. I know there's special ways to get diorite with milk and cobblestone heated. Yeah, the only other way I can see is flint, calcite, lava, and compacting, which is a little bit extra just for some andesite. This annoys me a lot. Oh, I was really hoping I'd have a lot more andesite to use, but I guess instead I will just return when we do have all the andesite we need. And now we can place this down, put our cart assembler on it, and I found some diorite. That is what we're going to use. We're going to combine it with cobblestone and turn it into andesite, which we're going to need a bit more cobblestone, but I made sure to pick some up from the machine and andesite. There we go. Don't think I'm going to have a problem with andesite for the rest of these, probably this whole project now. Okay, time to make all of this into andesite sheet metal, so I never ever have to worry about it again. This is definitely going to be more than enough for the 2 buildings, but I'd rather have more than enough than way too little, I guess. So let's chuck all of that into there, and then we need everything else pretty much, don't we? We still need cobbled deep slate related things as well, right? And just to be certain, put that in there, get a material checklist out. Do we have 32 torches? We have 30. Okay, well, simple fix. And we don't need any of these, so I suppose we can get that started. We need to ignore the missing items. And now we have all 5 hangars that this airport will have. Those 2 there, and then the big airplane workshop hangar there. The next step is going to be bringing the taxiway up here, having it curve into these 2 hangars on the side, and filling them out because this middle one still isn't filled out, because I am dreading the pain and misery of getting more grade I and then going to other people's bases to use their machines, because I still don't have my own, like an idiot. So after all of that, I have completed these 2 hangars, and I've even completed the taxiways to connect them all up. It was definitely a bit difficult figuring out the best way to do it around this area and this area, especially with how wide it gets over here. But I figured it out in the end. I believe both of these sides are very similar in the way that they work. The next thing that I'm supposed to do, based on what I said in the previous video, was finishing off the dirt around the bottom. But that's such a boring task to complete, because what I really want to do is what I said I would do in this episode. Not what I said I would do in this episode within this recording, which was the area over here which have the pushback vehicle, because I need to learn how to make vehicles that aren't just planes if I want this to go well. And yeah, I am lagging quite a bit. I'm downloading something. Yeah, so I've got my plan for the rest of this episode in mind, and I've got my plan for next episode in mind. But first I need to finish picking up all of these rails. Now the main goal and name and title and thumbnail and everything to do with this video is to do with this big plane warehouse here, or workshop here. I don't know, I'm going to call it, I built an airplane warehouse, or I created an airplane workshop or something like that here. But we're going to do the little side quest that I said we're going to do, which is build an area off to the side here. I don't think it has to go all the way around to this area. I think we can even just have it here, because we're only going to have like 1 or 2 of these vehicles, and I don't know what other vehicles we're going to even need. There might just be like a fuel tank or something I build there as well. And then the one other thing we're going to do before working on this is prettying up the place. And by prettying it up, it's not going to be actually pretty, it's just going to be dirtied up. So in fact, it's quite the opposite of prettying up. We're just going to put dirt and bone meal and stuff around the area, and then the helipad is next episode's thing, because I want to learn how to make new vehicles that aren't just planes. Then that does include helicopters, and I'm going to build a helipad. Why not make a helicopter? So that's a not now issue. So it only needs to be small enough to fit a small vehicle on it. I would say we can probably make it 7 blocks, and I guess if I'm going to put that here, then I want it centered with this hangar because it'd look nicer. So 1, 3, 5, 7. It's not how you count, but close enough. And let's increase it by 1 more. Simply, no, it's going to be 2 more, simply so we can make the turning of the taxiway look a little bit better. If it is so wide though that some planes would probably end up going down here, so maybe I do want to make it just a tiny bit smaller, and then we start going in here. It's just you don't want it to be mistaken as an area for them to go down, in which I'll definitely put in some maybe I should do like a straight yellow line that goes across there, because that would still separate it from the rest. I think this is big enough of an area to do it. I'm considering making it bigger on the left side as well. Maybe making it like this side just a little bit smaller, so it can be the same size on the other side. But that's something I'm gonna have to figure out a little bit later, because now I need to head on to Creative World to actually be able to figure out how to build this thing. So to be able to build something like this, we definitely need wheels. That's an obvious one. And let's do a wheel mount, because we kind of need that. So yeah, this is our best bet to being able to make a vehicle at all. These things do tend to be very low to the ground, which does make this slightly annoying. I think in terms of suspension and strength, we want it as low as possible. The best way to go about this is just using case chain drives along there, I believe, and then we can bring them up to here. However, we can't, because we need all sides of this to be free. It turns, it moves backwards and forwards. That's all a car really needs to do, right? So if I am to glue that together and make it a thing, it turns pretty well, I guess. And I don't actually... Well, that's a bit weird, isn't it? And then I guess we need like a mechanical... We can't do a mechanical piston because that won't extend. We need a piston, but that's massive and can't fit under there. And then would I be able to bring that down? No, because these tires still aren't big enough. And then bring it up. And then can I reverse with this? No, it just doesn't work. And this was a nice idea, but I'm not the type of person to make these machines. So I've spent probably about the past 40 minutes to an hour messing around with something I don't even understand. And this probably, to people who know create aeronautics a lot better than me, this probably looks like a whole mess of absolute mess. It looks like a mess completely. So if anyone does know how to do this, and anyone does figure this out in a way where it would work with this, yeah, if anyone does know how to do this, let me know, because I'd love to be able to do it. And now that we're back here, we're going to want to start getting stuff done inside of the plane hangar warehouse thingy, blah blah blah. So let's just chuck some stuff into here and make it the mess that it once was once again. And industrial iron, these are sheets. I don't need sheets. How do I make the iron bars? We need ingots, which we can turn industrial iron into anyways. But can't I just put these in here and then, yeah, I can just make them directly. So that defeats the whole point of needing those. And we want the catwalk stairs, and we want the catwalk railing. That might be a bit much, but it's fine. So let's head over here. But we want the catwalk to go around the plane when it is lifted. That might be a little too close. In fact, if we want to know what it looks like when it's lifted, we probably need to have the parts that are going to lift it first. That would probably help. I say as I continue placing it. So let's figure out how to make a rope winch, a rope connector, and rope itself. So rope winch, that's pretty simple actually. We probably have all of that on us actually. We do, so that's a rope winch. Rope connector, we have that already, and rope coupling. Well, I definitely got the nuggets, but I don't have the string. And I don't actually know if I have any string. I do have white water, so I can melt that down. Well, let's make life easier and let's just melt it down straight away. Oh, my backpack's clearly picked it up, hasn't it? Yep. Turn off the magnet. Let's do all of that. 28 string, and let's head up here and rope coupling. There we go. So we want our rope winch to be up above the sky so high like a diamond in the sky. So we're going to want some girders. We've got large metal girders as well in this, and girder strut, whatever that means. A type of girder used to span a distance between 2 anchor points. Oh, okay, that might actually be useful. It needs 3 girders and 2 andesite alloy. Our girders are quite annoying. Okay, right. We have a stack of andesite alloy and we have a bunch of sheets, so I have 20 sheets. Let's make some girders, and I guess let's get some girder struts as well. Let's see how this works. So I just put one on a wall and then how does this put one like that? Okay, they just go diagonally, but they're like very specific in the ways they go. Because if I was trying to use one, I want to get like some of this for this central area for the rope winch on. So if I was to get some of these, bring them down to here with a rope winch there probably, in which this bottom area will be replaced with shafts probably, just to actually be able to move the rope myself down there. Like, would I be able to put a girder strut on the side here? Yep. And then can I just put it there? I can. Okay, that might work actually. That doesn't look terrible. Yeah, I mean, it certainly works. We just also need to remember that I'm going to be bringing like a shaft up here at some point. It's probably going to come from the side. So this girder strut isn't even going to be able to exist because it's going to come from this side and then go downwards with a belt probably. Let's get these shafts here first. Let's bring them out across over to here. Let's also, for the sake of this, we need to put a rope connector around the middle. It will be floating, but we're not always going to be using this, are we? Loading the ropes, that I am. And then we need to get a crank, which we should have multiple of. So now, for example, I am going to have a belt that goes down onto the area below. But I can do this and the plane get lifted up. It is a little bit unstable, but I see this as the best way to do it. We can bring that down a little bit, and then I think this would be the perfect height for it. So we can bring the catwalk out this way, and yeah, we can get right up close to the wing. We probably want to be able to get on top of the wing, but I don't think I want this to go any higher. So actually, let's bring it down a small bit more. And then, yeah, you can easily like jump on top of the wing, and that seems fine to me. Let's just bring it up against here. And then I think catwalk railing can go onto these stairs. Yep. Let's continue back down the stairs, and I don't think we need some on the bottom. We'll definitely put some on this side here just for going up, but when it actually gets to being up here, you're going to want to be able to like get all the way around the actual aircraft. We'll put some on the corners though. And then with metal girders, we should be able to get... Oh, I can't... Can I put them like right on top of? That's slightly annoying. Like, I can connect to the side of it, but that doesn't look very great. And on... I mean, I guess on top it does connect like that, but it does just mean we could put like metal girders through the middle of it. Like, that could work. It's just they're not going to look like they're attached like this. So I could do that, which does look a little bit silly though. That's kind of the only choice I'm given. So I guess we're making it look a bit silly. That's silly. That's actually really silly. Because I don't like that this looks like it's just completely floating now. But I mean, with this bit over here, if we want this to move over here and then have a belt that goes down and then use the hand crank. So this bit over here is going to need another platform going this way. So you may as well connect up to the wall, which will give it like some sort of structural support. And then we'd bring that down to here. I don't know, first I'm making a kelp thing, and then that would go there. And then for the sake of support, let's put that there and this. No, I think that might actually just be fine there. But maybe having some going up the side like that might make it look a little bit better as well. Even though they're not actually connected and the whole thing is going to move. So let's actually get shaft going in there so it actually looks connected. There we go. And now if I continue doing this, yep, we can bring it up and we can bring it down. You see, it looks connected now, but because of the lack of girder struts on the left side, I feel like I have to do the same thing on this side. It's like I feel like I have to put shafts on the other side as well. But I guess making it able so you can make it up and down on each side might be a good thing. Because then on this side as well, we can also break open this area and expand this over to here. Yeah, this might be a good thing, actually, yeah. I mean, I think that looks pretty cool. But yeah, there we go. It does mean, because of the way I've put these stairs, it is a little bit difficult to make bigger planes in here. So let's actually remove... Why can't I remove... Is it because of the railings? I have to remove the railings first. Let's actually move these so then we could make bigger planes in here if we really wanted to. Because then the wings can just go right under the catwalks themselves, which I think would be fine. So let's try and just bring these down. Okay, let's put the catwalk railings on that and onto... Still not how I want it to go. And onto that. There we go. And let's do that again on the other side. Then I think that might be fine as it is. It still doesn't look like the most supported thing though. I wish it wasn't so restrictive on what can be placed in or around it. Like the best I feel like I can do is put like a girder strut there and then do that. But that's not like keeping the whole thing safe and supported, is it? There you go. Let's just do that like that. Good enough. It does something. It looks like it's somewhat useful. And then we can like lift up the plane like that. But with all of this area done and this area for future purpose, I guess all that really needs to be done now is dirty up the sides of the taxiways and the hangars, because I need to do that on the sides of these ones as well. Yeah, I mean, something I will ask for help with. If you have any sort of name for this massive hangar, because I feel like it's big enough and unique enough to need a unique name for itself, and a name for the airport itself, then leave that in the comments below. And yeah, I guess I'll just get on with dirtying this place up. And now our expansion for this episode is complete. We have lights on the runways and taxiways, which are going to have to be changed at some point because these copycat boards are very clear to see. So I'll find some sort of blocks that will mix in with the runway and light it up a little bit more later on. And this whole area is lit up. We've got these taxiways into multiple different hangars now. And we've got a little area over here waiting for our little pushback truck whenever I can figure out how that works. And we've got this empty area for next episode where we're going to be building our first helicopter. And I say building, but it's going to be many attempts and failing. And yeah, but I'm sure I can figure it out. I figured out how to build a plane, so I reckon I can figure out how to build a helicopter. How hard can it be? So if you did enjoy this episode, make sure to subscribe and like, and I will see you next time. Bye.